I had a task on my to-do list this morning, and it's something I do every so often. I was reminded of how important this is to me. It's something that I really don't let slip, and that's writing thank you notes, an actual tactile note that someone can hold in their hands. In today's digital age of sending so many messages every day electronically, when someone opens up their mailbox and they're sorting through their bills and junk mail, and then they see an envelope with their name and address on it, it's a special thing. 50 years ago, it was very common to receive handwritten correspondence. But today, I feel that the rarity of that is something that can actually be leveraged. If you want to say thank you to somebody and you want it to have an impact on them, simply writing that down on a piece of paper or on a note card and putting it in the mail in itself says so much. It says to the receiver, I took the time to sit down, to pull out a pen, and to write down this message, and then to put a stamp on the envelope and put it through the mail. I like to use that. I like to use the act of sending something through the mail to send that message. And today I wanted to talk to you about actually composing a thank you note. So for me, a thank you note means that it's not a letter. And the difference is that it should be, these are my own personal guidelines. In order for it to be a thank you note, it needs to be on one single piece of paper or on just one note card. If it's longer than that, then it's a letter, which is also fine. I think it's even better to send a letter to somebody with a much longer message, and within that letter you can say thank you. But a thank you note, for me, is something that is simply achieved, and it's solely to say thank you. So for me, when I'm sending a thank you note, this is my little like stationery crocodile folder, and in it I have envelopes and my paper that I love. This is it Midori? Yes, it's Midori. It's Japanese paper, and it's actually lined. So I really like this. I really like this lined paper. It just really helps me with when I'm using my calligraphy pen, and I don't mind that there's lines on the paper. So if I'm sending an actual thank you note on a sheet of paper, I'll just use one sheet of paper like this. I'll write my message, and I'll fold it and put it into one of these corresponding envelopes. It's just a plain ivory colored envelope. And because I am a calligrapher, the simplicity of the stationery allows the writing to really shine. Now, I am a calligrapher, but if you feel embarrassed about your writing, or you feel like your writing isn't good enough, or your writing is bad, let me tell you to set that aside. It's okay. It is so wonderful to receive something that was handwritten. So even if your writing is bad, the fact that you sat down and you wrote something down in whatever your writing is, that's very, very special to the recipient. So don't be embarrassed, don't be intimidated, especially don't be intimidated by me and my writing. I don't want that to stop you from being encouraged to do this, to actually sit down and when the occasion calls for it, to write a thank you note. So for me, the plainness of this paper is a good thing for the calligraphy, but I also have note cards, little note cards. This is actually a card that I had printed of a painting that I love. It's a painting I learned about from my pottery mentor, Guy Wolf. Rubens Peel with a Geranium. It's a painting from 1801, and Guy actually makes that flower pot inspired by this painting. So this is at the National Gallery of Art, which enables it to be used and printed it's sort of royalty free or rights free or something like that. Anyways, you can download the image and print it. There are many images like that, especially things from the National Gallery of Art. So I had these printed up into small cards, and they came with corresponding envelopes. There are all kinds of sites online where you can have this done beautifully, inexpensively. And I have a bunch of these. I love these as thank you notes, especially if, if I'm gifting a pot that I made, like a pot that I made under Guy's guidance from the painting, I'll include one of these cards. That's not a thank you note. That's a gift card. That's something else entirely. I'm deviating from the task at hand. But I do use these as thank you notes. I also had one of my, I did a drawing in pen and ink of this flourished fish, and I had these letter pressed onto cotton paper. And I actually sell these on my website, and these are also sold all over New York at the McNally Jackson bookstores and Goods for the Study bookstores. So these actually come with an envelope, but I made these in this size. I ordered these in this size because this is sort of a great little thank you note size. I think a thank you note is usually a smaller card than like a bigger birthday card. So those are the notes. That's the stationery. Now, when it comes to the actual message of what you're going to write in your thank you note, the most important thing about writing a note, the thing you should strive for, is sounding like yourself. If you don't come across like yourself on the paper, it's always kind of discernible on the other end. It's always, it always feels sort of off when someone's trying to write in a way that isn't really them. And that should be avoided. So I would say that before any rule about how to compose a message for a thank you note, just be yourself. What I do when I am writing to someone is I actually picture that person in front of me. And I try to feel like they're right there in front of me. And then I think of what I would say to them were they sitting in the room with me. And then I write that down. So if you're not used to this, if you're not used to writing thank you notes, it's not really your thing and you don't really know what to write, you can just simply say, thank you so much for the whatever, whatever, whatever. I really loved it. And close the letter, yours sincerely, love, your friend or whatever, and then your name. The way I learned to write a thank you note, and this was from reading a book about etiquette, was that after the salutation, dear so-and-so, you don't say thank you right away. You don't use the words thank you to start out the thank you note. It is much more eloquent in the format of a thank you note to write about the thing for which you're thanking the person. So let's say Emily gave me a striped shirt for my birthday, and that's the reason I'm writing this thank you note. I might start by writing, Dear Emily, for the last 2 years I've been looking for the perfect striped shirt and never found something I truly loved. When I opened your gift, I was amazed you were able to pick out the perfect striped shirt for me. Thank you so much. I love it and will wear it all summer long. Yours sincerely, your friend, Rajiv. So the thank you comes after something else that is the meat of the note and the reason why the note's being written. That is how I always write a thank you note. I start by summarizing or recollecting or reminiscing, referencing that thing that is the reason this is being written, and then I say thank you. My other sort of personal rule is don't say thank you more than twice. More than once. don't say the words thank you more than once. And there are different schools of thought about this. There are some formats and standards that will tell you to start the thank you note with thank you for the whatever, whatever, then to write the body of the note about the striped shirt and how you've been looking for one, and then to say thanks again, to bring it back and to thank them again. I don't agree with that. I have written many thank you notes and I have received many thank you notes, and I have to say the notes that I have received that just feel right are the ones where thank you appears once in the note, because it's much more powerful that way. I also think that starting the note with something else enables you to build. It enables you to build to the words thank you. I think the art of writing, the art of corresponding with pen on paper is so intimidating today because we're so not used to it. We're used to communicating like this, and we can press delete and we can highlight entire sentences and just delete them and rewrite them. And now the cursor blinks and fills in the word before you're even finished typing it. So technology has really pushed us to a place where we're not really forced to compose our thoughts as we're writing with a medium that is permanent. And that, I think, is what intimidates people. So you can also do this. Get out a sheet of paper, like a scrap piece of paper, and pretend like you're writing your thank you note, and write it out by hand on the scrap piece of paper. And if there's parts that you don't like, cross them out. It's reverting back to elementary school when we had writing exercises. I don't even know if kids have writing exercises today, but that is so okay to do. You don't have to write the note directly onto here for the first time. You can compose it somewhere else and then write it out by hand on here. So that's the meat of the message. The format of a thank you note is, like the actual architecture of the page, is something that I also pay attention to. This note paper that I like to use has a very large margin at the top, and there are two things that go at the top that's kind of a standard, and I actually add 2 lines on there just with a pencil so that I can write the date and the city from which I'm writing. Writing the date and the city is, to me, a very important thing. It gives this note an actual moment in time. If you want, and I have done this sometimes, I've written the actual time underneath here, 4:45 p.m., for example. When the person opens up this note, seeing that locates the place and the time and day when this note was written. So for me, that's something I'm actually always looking for when I receive a note. When was this written? How long ago was this written? And I also really like to know where. Now, on the return address of the envelope, sometimes the city is on there. But to me, it's really nice to actually have this on the page. So after those 2 things are written on the right-hand side at the top, I would write my salutation down here. And then I would start my note. Now, there is this sort of unspoken skill of doing this properly. And the way that writing a note like this, if you choose to write it on a sheet of paper, you should try to fill this page with writing and end on the last line. So the second last line, yours sincerely, your friend, or love, and then your name on the last line. That is a real skill. That is not easy to do, but at its sort of highest form of writing a thank you note or writing a note like this, that's really classy when you can start the letter up here or the note up here, fill these lines sort of casually with your message, and then bring it all to a very natural close by the last line. When I talk about the architecture of the page, this is sort of a technical thing of what these lines mean and the format, the size of the page in relation to the actual message and the words. When those two things come together, where visually this thing is filled, this note becomes a really physically beautiful, elegant thing. So what you want to try to avoid is stopping right here or here and signing your name over there. Because what that kind of insinuates visually is, well, I kind of don't have anything else to say, even though there's half a page left, so I guess I'm bored now, so I'm just going to end this. Which is not necessarily the case, but it visually, that's kind of a little subtext of the message when someone opens up a note like this and there's all this blank space. So in that case, if your message is going to be very short, then you pick another format. And this is what I do. If I know I don't really have that much to say and the message is going to be really short, very short, I would not write a thank you note on a piece of paper like this with all these lines. I would choose something like this. And I would write the message here. The message always should start here. So there is this format of starting here, then using this as the second page if you need it, and if the back is blank, this is the third part of the page. If you know you're going to write a long note, you can start here and fill this up and go on to the back. But this thing of page 1, page 2, page 3 comes from writing off the cuff, and you start here, and if your message is going to be short, you end here. And this is really the primary part of the card for the message. But if it happens to go on, your impulse is you would like to say more, then you have this, and then you have this. This card format really does serve the purpose of writing a very, very short note or making it longer. This is more of a commitment to writing a longer message. Depends how large your writing is. So those are my techniques for writing a thank you note. Again, if you want to say thank you to someone for a gift, for inviting you to a party, for anything really, for maybe a note of condolence that they sent you, or for any other reason, writing a thank you note is truly such a wonderful way of connecting with that person. Because it's a rare thing, because it takes time. So one more thing, stamps. So you fold the note, you put it into an envelope, you write the address on the envelope, and then the postage stamp gives you some room for having fun and being creative. And what I have in here are a lot of postage stamps. So every year, throughout the year, when I'm at the post office, I look at what special stamps have been issued for that month. And then I'll buy a sheet of them and I'll put them in this folder. And that enables me to really pick from all kinds of stamps when I'm writing a note or a letter. Sometimes I match the color of the stamp to the color of the stationery, but I want to show you these stamps. So these stamps are thank you stamps, and I found these recently, actually from 2019, designed by a calligrapher. I think Dana Tanamachi designed these thank you stamps, but they are perfect for putting on the thank you notes, because you wrote the thank you note and then the postage stamp actually says thank you, which is, I think that's that's pretty great. But someone I know, Gigi, my friend in Ireland, she is top class when it comes to writing notes and letters and sending correspondence. She does the same thing. She has a ready stash of stamps, and there's this subtle, wonderful, tiny little beautiful thing that she does. She always has a stamp that is kind of relevant to me. We have inside jokes going back 10 years, and sometimes the stamp references the joke. She knows how much I love Yeats. Once she sent me a stamp from Ireland that was a Yeats, William Butler Yeats stamp. And once she sent me this beautiful stamp of a Maharaja in profile. And I know that it's not just coincidence, and she didn't just pick the stamp randomly to put on my note. I know that she chose it for me to say something additional, something more than the words on the page. This is really letter writing or writing a note taken to its highest level, where you leverage every aspect of this, the stationery, the writing, the message, the stamp, to say as much as you can. If I know that someone keeps chickens, I would go to my heritage breeds stamps, and I would take off that little chicken stamp and stick that on there. Or if I know that someone loves my goat's milk soap and I gift them my goat's milk soap regularly, like someone like Deborah, she loves my soap, I might put that goat stamp on there. So this is the power of and the joy, really, of old-fashioned handwritten correspondence. You can really have fun with it, and you can have a real impact on the person you're writing to by taking the time and the care to put the time and the care into this. So whether you're used to it or not, I hope I've offered you some things that serve as some kind of inspiration. It's something I love doing, something very important to me. I don't let it slip. If I want to say thank you, this is how I do it.